All right, who is there with me? Good day, everybody. Who is here? Who is there with me? Let's go, let's go. All right, good day, everybody. If you are joining me for the first time, my name is Shakirat Oluokun, popularly called Always Shakaro. Please, when you join me, do well to leave your location and please leave me a hi. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much as you do so. Once again, my name is Shakirat Oluokun, popularly called Always Shakaro. So today, we are going to continue on our emotions matter. Emotions matter, things relating to emotions and how we as parents can become more emotionally intelligent. So we've started this series. I think this is the fourth series now. If you are joining me, please leave me a hi and please tell me your location. Thank you so much as you do so. So last week we looked around the basic framework of emotional intelligence, and I mentioned 5 framework that we use. Wa alaikum assalam. Well done, my welcome. Thank you for joining us. So please leave me your location. I'm connecting with you all the way from Ibadan, Nigeria. You can leave me your location as well. Thank you as you do so. So last week we looked at the 5 major framework for emotional intelligence, and I mentioned them as the first one is, I said, self-awareness. Wow, Ibadan too. Thank you for connecting with me from all the way from Ibadan. So we are then. So I said the first one is self-awareness. I said self-awareness, and I said the second one is self-management. The third one I mentioned is motivation or resilience building. The fourth one I mentioned is empathy, and the last one I said is relationship building. If you do not see that video, if you have not seen that video, I'll advise you to please go back and see it. It's going to be explosive to you. So today we are going to be looking at the first framework, which is self-awareness. Self-awareness is not something that is not it's something that we all used to say, I'm aware of myself, I'm this, I'm that. But in the real sense, how much aware are we? How much aware are we really? How much emotionally intelligent are we, like we claim to be? So as parents, we need to be more aware of our emotions, especially as regards to our children, because we are role model to them. They look forward to us, even when we don't talk. They see us, and what we speak, what we do, reveals more about us than what we say. What we do to our children, the way we react to them, our relationship with them, the way we treat them, speaks more than what we actually say to them. You might be telling your child, don't yell at other people. As much as you continue to yell at a child, your child will continue to yell at people. So what's self-awareness? Self-awareness is not about consciousness. Some people confuse it to be consciousness. Consciousness is just a part of self-awareness. Self-awareness is deeper than consciousness. Self-awareness is looking deep and understanding that we are different as individuals. That is, we understand our character and our personality. We understand our desires. We understand that we are human in transition. That is, we are as the day emerges, we continue to change, we continue to improve. That's self-awareness. It's not the same thing as consciousness. In consciousness, we have self-awareness. So self-awareness is much more than just being aware that I'm angry now, I'm sad now. It's deeper. It's understanding our thoughts and how it influences our actions, our thinking and our mindsets, and how it influences the way we behave. So if you are joining me, please do well to leave your location and tell me hi. I look forward to it. Thank you very much. So I'll be giving us, before I start, I would like to break some myths that we have concerning self-awareness or concerning our emotions. Many of us have been raised with some belief that we think is true, that we have come to accept as part of us, that I can't really change this thing. Looking back at my life, this is not to fumble or to say I've gotten to the peak of self-awareness. I'm just trying to say that looking back in retrospect, I can say that I'm not the same person I used to be when it comes to emotions. Thank you very much, Karimat Zainab Karim, sorry, for joining us from Lagos. Thank you. So I used to be somebody that used to be very, let me say, I'm very emotional. Thank you very much, Timothy Akunjobi. Thank you for joining us, sir. So I used to be very emotional. As a teenager, I remember there was a point in my life that I had to take this insecticide. Pestos, I don't know if you can remember that particular type of insecticide. I took it out of frustration of what was said to me. So many of us, we have come to believe some things about ourselves that are just thoughts, that are just myths. So one of those myths, some of those myths, I'm going to be breaking them for us today. One of them is that we have come to believe that some things are genetic to us, that our emotions are genetic. Of course, there are some that are genetic, but researches have shown that we can break those genetics, we can break those things with our habits, our daily habits, the things we do day in, day out. And we are not who we claim to be, we are the things that we do. So the more you continue to yell, the more you continue to scream, the more you continue to place your happiness on other people's behavior, the more you are not, the more your emotions is in the hands of other people, the more you are controlled by people's behavior. Until we deliberately and consciously make that effort that no, my decisions, my response, and my reactions to situations are my own decisions, and I'm going to face them. So if your child does something and you don't like it, and the next thing you do is that you hit the child or you slap the child or you just start yelling, it means your child is controlling you. That's just it. That's the meaning. But most times we don't. Thank you very much for joining us, Margaret Treasure Akwa Ibom. I'm glad to connect with you, ma'am. So most times, if you don't think about those processes, we continue to repeat the same behavior day in, day out. So today we are going to be busting the myth around emotions. The first one is the genetic determinism. People will tell you that that woman is behaving that way because it's in their genetic, it's in their DNA, because it's African thing. Shouting, for example, and beating children, for example, is more rampant in African setting. They will not tell you that African, no, we believe that beating is good. If you don't beat a child, the child will not listen to you. Those things are myths. They are myths that we have come to believe as true. And the more anything that you believe, you're going to act it. You continue to believe that it's until I beat my child that my child will listen to me. Automatically, you continue to see reasons to justify beating your child. You continue to see reason to believe that it is your child's behavior that is making you angry. Of course, your child might trigger you. Your child is not responsible for your anger. You are responsible for it. This is not a class for that. This is just to tell us that we have to break some myth that is in our head that we have long been programmed to believe as true. They'll tell you that it's an African way. That's the way their father is. It's in their DNA. African shouts. Who can raise a child without shouting? Of course, we have been hearing those things for so long, and we are raising our children that way. We are coming to believe them as true too. The second one is the psychic determinism. The psychic determinism will tell you that it's your parent that did you that way. It's you didn't do it to yourself. It's your environment. It's your upbringing. It's because they raised me up too by beating. That's why I'm beating my child. So, to a reasonable extent, those things are true. But does that mean we cannot change those things? These are programming. These are conditioning that we have just been so complacent with accepting as true. We don't want to change them. We are just so comfortable in those situations. We accept them as our truth and they become our reality. Of course, you might have gone through some experience as a child that has left you somewhat broken. I don't love to use the word broken, but indeed many of us were raised in inappropriate ways. In ways that when you recall, sometimes it brings tears to the face. Yes, that's true. But is that the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world. The truth is that we can rewrite our own scripts. Our emotional scripts, you can rewrite them consciously. If you are somebody that knows me, for those that know me, past 10 years, you can tell me that, in fact, 10 years is too much. If you know me 4 5 years ago, you know that I'm not the same person that I am today when it comes to emotions. Why I'm saying this is that I'm not here to boast to you. I'm trying to tell you that when you consciously and deliberately make that intention that I don't want to react based on people's behavior again, believe me, you would not. But because you still believe in your deep down in your heart that it is somebody that is responsible for your emotions, then they will continue to control you. Once your child does something that you don't like, you are angry, you slap the child, you beat the child, yet the child will still repeat the same behavior. There was a point in my life that I was doing that to my son. So when he was toddler, normally they want to explore. My child would go to the kitchen, would take the tumbler, would take water, pour it away. The angry me will beat the child. But thank God for knowledge. That's why I say that in this journey, once in any journey we are embarking on, we can't do it without knowledge. We can't do it. We have to seek knowledge of things that work. Things are changing and we should change too. It doesn't mean because we have been raised that way, we should raise our children that way. Those are raised, they are people that raise their children. I have a friend that said that my parents didn't raise me by beating me, and she turned out okay. In fact, she's more brilliant than I am. Am I even brilliant? I'm not that brilliant. So we have to start questioning those paradigms. You have to start thinking out of the box. The next myth is that of environmental determinism. They will tell you that it's your spouse. Your spouse is responsible for your anger, for your situation. Your child is responsible for it. Your environment, the government, just like we normally do, we blame the government because of the situation of the country. Some people will say they are frustrated. Of course, you can be frustrated. Of course, you can feel angry about the situation. But doing that, does that change anything? It doesn't change anything. So we have to understand that our emotions are in our power, is in our hands. Until we deliberately choose what our response to each situation, we'll find out that we are just reacting to issues and they are not changing. For example, imagine yourself in a traffic. Traffic is something that I don't like to myself. Nobody loves traffic. But imagine yourself just nagging and complaining in that traffic. In that traffic, you are not already comfortable. You are already sweating. You are tense. You are not calm. And then you now added to the situation by complaining. This traffic. This country. The government are just so stupid. The government are just so this. They are so that. You continue saying that, and that does not change the situation. Why not just shift your paradigm? I'm sorry, please. I'm sorry. Can you please excuse me, Moaz? Please, you are disturbing my class. Thank you. I'm sorry about that. So, why not just stay calmly and accept that situation and just shift your paradigm? What can I do in this situation, in this time? What other thing can I do? Can I be reading my book? Can I start planning ahead of the things that I'll do when I get home? We can do a lot of creative things during that traffic. It's not what happened to us that makes us angry. It is our reaction and our response to those things that actually makes us angry. So it's not really about what happens to you. Until we deliberately accept it and think through this process. The children, for example, when our children do things that we don't like, we become angry, we eat them. But when adults are mates, when they do those things to us, do we eat them too? Do we say because as a spouse, as a wife, you make mistakes, or you make a mistake, your husband now hits you as a form of correction? We have to start thinking through these things. We are responsible for our emotions. Of course, our children might do things that will make us angry. They will make mistakes and we will get angry. But does eating them correct that mistake? We need to start thinking through these things, process ourselves. We have to become that parent that thinks through our processes, and we have to have our hand in mind. What future do we want for our children? How do we want them to grow? Feature yourself in the next. Imagine yourself. I'm going to do an exercise for us now. So these are the myths that we have long been programmed to believe. They are just conditionings. They are conditionings. I don't know. There's a particular time during the university that we have a particular course in our 100 level days about this Ivan Pavlov's theory of experiments of conditioning with dogs. And in that theory, we are told that when each time they give the dog a particular for a couple of minutes. I think the dog was trained with meat. They give the dog the meat. The dog will salivate. The dog will eat it. Get to a certain point that they had to attach the mates with a bell, with a ringing bell. Automatically, when the dog hears the ringing bell, he associates it with mates. So without ringing the meat, when they ring the bell, the dog will automatically will salivate in expectation of food. That's conditioning. It's conditioning. That is when I match ringing of bell and I give the dog food, when I repeat it for some time, the dog will associate that once I ring bell, I'm going to give him food. So it gets to a point that they continue to ring the bell. That is Pavlov, the one that carried out the experiments. Stop ringing the bell and stop giving the dog the mates, but just ringing the bell, and the dog will still salivate. But it gets to a time in the life of that dog that the dog realizes that they are just ringing bell, they're not giving me food, and it led to extinction. So, but as humans, that's an animal for us. An animal, for your information, an animal does not have self-awareness. It is only human, we as human, that God has given that ability, that gift. In all the creations that God has created, it is only human that have the ability to be aware. Close your eyes now and imagine yourself that you are dead. Of course, none of us is going to die prematurely, but just imagine yourself that you are dead. Imagine your body on the floor. I would like us to do this exercise. These are one of the things that will make us more aware of our priorities in this life. Many of us are just living the scripts that have been handed over to us. They are not called to who we are. So imagine yourself dead and your body on the floor. Imagine you walking inside and seeing your relatives, your spouse, your child, your friends, your cousin. Imagine them. What exactly do you want them to say about you? What do you want your child to say about you? My mom is that yelling mother. My mom is that mother that beats without caution. My mom is that mother that is empathetic. Start thinking about those things. When we start thinking about those things, we become more aware of ourselves. We become more aware of our priorities. We become more aware of the things that are true to us, of our values, of our core values, of our core self. So if you have been following me, please, I would love to read from you. If you have been following me, please, I would love to read your comments. We have taken the 3 myths so far. I've talked about the genetic determinism, the psychic determinism, and the environmental determinism. I said the genetic one is that they tell you that it's an African thing, it's in your DNA, that's the way you are, you can't change it. The psychic one is that they tell you that it's your parents that did it to you. It's your childhood experience, that's why you cannot change it. It's your upbringing. And the last one is the environment. You blame the government, you blame your spouse, you blame your children when they hurt you. You tell them that they are responsible for your reaction. But I'm here to tell you that we are responsible for our response in all situations, regardless of what we have been told. So we have to start thinking through these processes. I would love to read from us. Please, if you have been following me, please send in your comments. So different from what they have told us, I said self-awareness is one of the gifts that God has given us as humans. We are the only one that possess that gift. So that dog, going back to the issue of the dog, the experiment of the dog, if a dog could display the attitude of extinction when he was hearing just the bell sound without food, and it got to a point that he had the sound of the bell, and he was not salivating again. How about us humans? We do the same thing every day, day in, day out, and we do not see the desired results, yet we continue doing them. You beat a child. You complain about people. You blame people for your situation, and it doesn't improve your situation. It doesn't change your situation. It doesn't add value to your situation, yet we continue to do that. Does it sound logical? Does it sound good? Does it sound interesting? Thank you very much, Ma Abiodun Tanimomo Hafsa Omolayo. So we have to start thinking about these processes. Self-awareness, like I said before, is much more deeper than consciousness. It's in self-awareness that we have consciousness. Consciousness is more about being conscious being aware of your environment, of those that are around you, of your relationship, of your reaction. But self-awareness is deeper. It's understanding that your character, your personality can be formed by you. Your emotional pattern can be formed by you. You can choose your situation and your response in every situation. You can choose your response in every situation. Just like there's a popular quote that I love to use, that no one can drive us crazy unless we give them the permission to do so. Nobody can drive you crazy. I'll say that again. Nobody can drive you crazy. Crazy here does not mean that you are mad, though. Crazy here means that nobody can make you angry unless you give them the permission to do so. So the more we start thinking about this, the more we start to believe it, the more we improve our self-awareness. Situations will happen to us, things will happen to us, but as humans, we should understand that we can change ourselves. Different from who they call you, different from that your name and your titles, different from I'm Shakirat. For example, I'm Shakirat Olokun. Maybe for example, I'm an adult educator, I'm a parent coach, I'm a doctor, I'm a teacher. Different from that, who are you in your core self? Different from what people have told you, different from the names, the labels that they have given you, that woman, she's rude, she's so pompous, she's so full of herself. Are you accepting those prophecies as yours? Or you are deliberately working on yourself regardless of what people are saying, that I want to connect with my inner self, I want to know who I am truly in my deep values. That's why I said going through that exercise is very important for us. It's one of the things that have made me shift my priorities as a mother. Imagine yourself dead. Imagine yourself dead. What do you want your children to remember about you? What do you want your spouse to remember about you? What do you want those around you to remember about you? So who are you? Different from the I am and I am a. I am Shakirat Olokun. I am a teacher. I'm a parent, and that. Who are you different from that? Are you gentle and kind? Are you that parent that give excuses? Are you that parent that listens? We have to start thinking about this thing, because emotions is something that connects us. That's the basic thing that connects us to other humans. So if you are not getting it right with your emotions, you might be getting it wrong in relationship with other people. And like I said in the previous video, if you have not seen that video, do well to watch the video. I said that the basic thing that connects us as humans is our emotions, our relationship with other people. How well are we raising our children? You don't need to be perfect. Your children don't even need you to be perfect. We just need to think through our processes. Are you doing things that will harm your child's self-esteem? It's not about just book. My child is book smart. My child is book smart. There's more to becoming emotionally intelligent than just being book smart. We have to start to understand that who we are internally is much more than what our names and what people say we are. Much more important than what the prophecies that they have given, the labels that they have given us. We have to start thinking about this thing. So now I want us to say this to ourselves. Write down in this comment that I'm gentle, I'm compassionate, I'm self-aware, I'm responsible for my actions. Write anything that you want to start doing now as regards your emotions. Write them out. And read them out loud to yourself as you're writing them. I would love to read them with you too. So I'm saying mine like myself here too. I'm authentic and loving. I'm selfless and courageous. I'm me uniquely. I'm gentle and honest. I'm trustworthy. I'm compassionate. I love with all my heart. I'm a listening parent. I'm responsible for my actions and emotions. So I'm not reading from anybody. I don't know what's wrong with the network, but I would love to read from you. So self-awareness is much more than just the titles. It's much more than connection. It's much more than just the title. Consciousness is deeper than that. So next week we are going to continue on tips that can improve our self-awareness. Tips that can improve our self-awareness. Next week we are going to continue on that. Remember that in any situation you are responsible for your action. It's not something that comes off straight off. It's a practice. It's something that becomes, the more you do it, the more you become self-aware. The more you do it, the more you become self-aware. And we need this because we are parents. We are raising future leaders. Thank you for that, Amina Salahuddin. I am gentle, I'm compassionate, I'm self-aware. I believe in me. You are unique, yes. You are self-pleasing, you are kind, you are content. I love that. So the more we say these things to ourselves, and the more we look deep into ourselves, the more we understand that those things the way we are reacting, you're not really that person. You're that parent that just yell, you just beat your child every time. You might not be, you are not really that. You're just perhaps transferring the situational on your child, the issue of the situation on your child. So thank you very much for joining me today. Next week, we are going to continue and we are going to be taking the myth on. We're taking the myth today. We're going to be taking tips on how we can become more self aware. In all situations, be more than a parent, be purposeful. Thank you. Meet me same time next week, 5 p.m. I look forward to seeing you. Bye.